having bad sex with a partner isn't the end of the world. Trust me. There are tons of ways to help him become better. But the first step is always the hardest. And that's making him come to terms with the fact that he needs some improvement in the sex department. The key is to communicate effectively and sensitively. I have seen some videos that say, oh, faking an orgasm is okay so that you do not bruise his ego. That's specifically targeted for people who are in need for an escape route for sex. When you're in a relationship, you should never ever fake it. The reason why you're with a man who is awful in bed is because you made him think he was better than he really was. Forget his ego sometimes. Your sex life is just as important as your emotional connection. So tell him the truth with your body. If you can't say it out loud, tell him the truth with your body. I know it's unheard of these days, but couples need to talk about sex before they do it. Talk about it before you engage in it, whether you're married. Girls, honestly, believe me when I say that a few things are more frustrating than having sex with a guy who just sucks at it, honestly. Now, one of the most horrible feelings in the world is when you finally get the courage of conviction, to find ways, the right ways to let him know that he's awful in bed. And it's not that it feels bad to actually tell them you didn't enjoy yourself. The misery that comes when you see their faces, when they realize that they are not all that, can be devastating, not just for them, but also for you. Because invariably, it will start making you feel like you're the bad guy here. And that's why I have 29 subtle ways that you can let a guy know that he's awful in bed without hurting his feelings. You know how men are so proud and it's all about their ego and how everything is a competition for them. It's just embedded in their DNA, whether it's a race, their only goal at that point is to win their competitors. Now, when it comes to having sex, men are basically competing with every guy that you've been with if you didn't meet him as a virgin. And the less men that you've slept with, the less are the expectations for him. That's to be honest. But unfortunately for them, you know, a lot of women are not concerned with the numbers because women have strict criteria when it comes to sex. And it only involves two things, two goals. The first goal is to have an orgasm. The second one is intimacy. So if we can't have the latter, then the least that men can do for us is to get us off. If they can't do it, then we will have to deal with the fact that they are awful in bed. And this leads us to the part where we have to tell them the truth about it. That's where it gets tricky. Because most men haven't progressed much from their set ways in terms of accepting their shortcomings. In their head, they're the bomb. They're the best thing that has ever happened since sliced bread. And the funny thing is that they can easily admit to messing up in real life, but it's a different ball game altogether when it comes to you criticizing their skills in bed. That's why you need to be sensitive about telling them when they're not living up to your expectations when it comes to sex. Because if you don't, my darling, then you underestimate the impact this issue would have on your marriage or on your relationship. So it's not just about you having an unfulfilling sex life. It's about how this potentially disconnects you both and what you've built invariably spilling over into other areas of your relationship or marriage. And invariably, it can lead to the feeling of resentment. You know, you start observing that there is a decrease in affection and a weakening of the overall bond that you share with your mate. So before you start thinking up ways of telling your man about his lack of sexual prowess, you need to know what makes men bad in bed. And it's absolutely necessary because men will never admit to what they're doing wrong. That's because primarily they do not have an idea. Even after sleeping with a plethora of women, most men still don't know how to make a woman orgasm. And that's because as we grow, we start to learn that our bodies need more than a pump and rub. And do you know what makes it even funny? It's because men just feel things out and they learn from whoever they've been with in the past. The problem with that method is that most men don't ask what is individualistically streamlined to their current partner. Because you can't invariably think that what gets your former partner off can basically get your current partner off. Because we're all different. Our sensitivity to touch, our responses to touch are different. And unless this is called for during dirty talk with your man, they really don't know the specifics. And they rarely have clues about our body's roadmap and the possibilities that it presents them. That's why we need to step up and tell them what's up. So, how can you tell a man that he's bad in bed without hurting his feelings? Number one, don't. This is the first choice, but it won't always work, right? I get that. But listen, keeping your opinion to yourself should be your initial option because there are other ways to correct their mistakes without having to tell them point blank that they're messing up, all right? So while you're doing the deed, use dirty talk as an excuse to tell them how you want stuff to be done to you. See, you could even go as far as reciting a whole Kama Sutra manual and they won't even notice. But take note, this will only work if you use your sexiest voice. You don't say it commandingly, you just say it with the most sexy voice ever. Baby, this is what I want you to do. Do this to me, do that to me. Take your hands over here, take your hands over there. Number two, I think that a better option rather than tell them that what's happening isn't working for you is for you to tell them that there is a better way to pleasure you. Always ask them this question, babe, you know what would be better? And then tell them what you really want them to do. And don't forget to say, that will make me feel so good. And again, please use your bedroom voice. It makes a lot of sense. Number three, give sexy commentaries. See, whenever they do something right, always commend them on it. Tell them that that's the way you like it. Tell them how good they are. And trust me, the moment will be permanently stamped in their mind, which will mean that they are more likely to do the same thing in the future. Number four, take control. Suggest a little bit of role playing where you are the boss. In this way, you can subtly give them commands on how to make you orgasm without them realizing that you're correcting their mistake. Number five, switch positions. If something's not working for you, I would ask that you suggest for the positions to be switched. If the position that you're in is not comfortable for you, switch it. Try suggesting that both of you switch the position. Try new ones. If you're tired of the same old stuff, change it. Not only will this give you a possible orgasm, it will also help spice up your substantially lukewarm sex life. Number six, explore educational resources. See, explore it together. Introduce the idea of watching educational videos or reading books about sexual. And I'm not when I talk about educational videos, I'm not talking about adult movie. That's not an educational video. It can twist your perception on how real sex should look like. Do you get what I mean? So look for educational videos like my video that would teach you how to have a much more fulfilling sexual life. Or you read books about sexual techniques together. Just when you're trying to nudge him into it, just frame it as a fun activity to explore new horizon in your relationship. Just an indirect approach just allows you to introduce new ideas and preferences without directly stating your dissatisfaction with him. And it can be playful. It can be a bonding experience that, naturally would lead to you trying out new things, and he will be open to trying out new things, not feeling like, oh, there was something that he did wrong. Okay, invariably you're not bruising his ego. For me, I consider it a win. A win is a win when you do not bruise his ego. Plus, it will take the pressure off the both of you because you're making it a shared journey of discovery rather than a critic. Number seven, you need to encourage mutual exploration. Suggest a game where both of you can express and explore a fantasy or something new that you've never tried before. And trust me, this can be an exciting way to bring novelty into your relationship, into your bedroom. And it can be very enlightening in terms of understanding each other's desires. It's a way, for me, I think that it's a way for you to communicate your needs indirectly while also attending to his needs. Number eight, use positive reinforcement. Whenever your partner does something you enjoy, make sure to express your pleasure both verbally and non-verbally, because positive reinforcement can be a powerful tool that you can use in the bedroom to boost his ego. It will guide your man towards the action and techniques that can provide you with the most satisfaction without ever you having to highlight the negatives in his actions. Do you get what I mean? Number nine, try to create a fantasy box. Introduce the idea of a fantasy box where you both can drop, suggestions on things that you would like to try tonight. And trust me, doing this can be very playful as well. And it can be an indirect way for you to communicate your desires to him. It just adds an element of surprise and anticipation to your sexual encounters, thereby making the process of exploration really enjoyable for both of you. Number 10, offer to lead. Because I believe that the way sometimes to taking your orgasm by force is by you taking the initiative and leading. And trust me, this is a subtle way to guide your partner to the things that you want, because you're already taking the lead, showing him. So you can rather show than talk or than tell what you enjoy. I mean, only you know how your body works. So just tell him what feels good for you and what doesn't. And just don't go overboard in one night. Take baby steps and always tell him how good he is once he gets it right. He needs that affirmation. Number 11, I would ask for you to suggest sensations night. This is what I mean. Plan a night dedicated to exploring different sensation and pleasures where the focus is more on the journey than the destination. This is what I mean. The journey is the foreplay, the things that you guys do, the kissing, the smooshing, and all of that. The destination is the actual penetration. You're not focusing on a penetration. And that's where we get it wrong, especially the men. Some of the men think that, oh, the destination is where we need to hit to get her there or to get themselves there, if you're dealing with a selfish man. But you need to find out time. It's not all the time that you guys need to get to the destination. Sometimes you can actually explore the sensitivity of your body, the overall sensitivity of your body without having to climax or reach your orgasm, and you are still having a great time. Do you get? So it's not all the time that you have to reach your climax. It's not all the time that you have to reach your orgasm. Spend time to explore your body. I call it worshiping your partner's body, your husband's body. And trust me, this can be a tactful way to explore what feels good for you. And it would encourage, experimentation. And you will observe that your bedroom, there is more attention given to detail, which will become much more enlightening for your partner. This is how you get to know your partner's body like the back of your hand, because you've taken out time to explore the things that gets him off. Number 12, use question to guide your partner. Because by asking questions like, how would you feel about trying this? What you're doing is you're finding a diplomatic way to suggest new things to your partner. And this just opens a dialogue about preferences and desires. It's a non-threatening way to introduce new ideas and find out more about what your partner enjoys as well, too. Okay? Number 13, you guys need to discuss during the after post intimacy. It's very important. You're not just having sex and at the end of the day, you just roll over. You need to find out, checking with your partner. Did you feel good? Did I do something that you didn't like? Be open. Especially if you're I'm talking to the men now. Even the women, ask your partner, did I do anything that you didn't like? And if he says no, then fine, you keep quiet and wait if he's going to be sensible enough to ask you, did I also do something that you didn't like? And then you could tell him. So after you have enjoyed a close moment and you both are relaxed and you're cuddling, it's the perfect time for you to chat about what you liked most during your time together. I would encourage this kind of casual conversation because it can be much more appealing than a formal brief on what happened. You would observe that it would feel less like a review and more like sharing sweet nothings together. And you're just chuckling, you're just laughing over your mistakes or over their mistakes as well too. Trust me, these simple loving exchanges can subtly guide your future intimate encounters, thereby encouraging your partners to involve in ways that delights both of you. And if none of these things work with your man or with your partner, then sometimes, no matter how hard you try to get them to improve their moves, they still would not realize that their moves aren't good enough to get you off. And in this case, you will need to refer to these methods that I still have, which I would make my number 14. Sit them down. Make sure you're doing this at home, preferably in the bedroom. All right? Because it would offer the much needed security that will make the conversation go smoothly. And don't alarm them by spotting a gloomy mood. Just act as if you're about to tell them about a business trip or something that doesn't require any strong emotions. Okay? Because you don't want to bruise their ego. You don't want to make them build a wall up before you even start having that conversation. Number 15, reassure your man. Make sure that you make your man feel at ease. Tell him that you want to tell him something, but you're reluctant because you might hurt him. At this point, you can't turn back again. There's no turning back. Just tell him that no matter what happens, everything is going to be okay and that you're fine. But you could be better. Because honestly, there is no way to start telling them about this without freaking them out. That's the fact. But you just have to take the bull by the horn. Number 16, tell them the truth. And do not use the words, oh, you're bad in bed, you're awful at this, or anything that uses negative adjectives. Tell him that you're having trouble getting an orgasm and that you would like for him to help. This is where he would realize that they have something to do with it. And when you tell him, just promptly burst into tears. Or if he's a really laid back guy, he probably will just agree and try some new moves with you. Okay? Number 17, after you finish speaking, try to calm him down and reassure him again. Reassure him that it's not the end of your relationship. It's not the end of your marriage. It's not the end of your sex life. You both can get better. Just let him know that it's a simple thing that you both can fight through communication, and that you just need a little more love and affection, and that it's possible for him to provide that. So tell him that you're not asking for too much, just a little bit of improvement. Number 18, this is a bonus one. Do not fake it, because we're the problem. If you're faking it, how would he know that he's doing something wrong? I have seen some videos that say, oh, faking an orgasm is okay so that you do not bruise his ego. That's specifically targeted for people who are in need for an escape route for sex. When you're in a relationship, you should never ever fake it. The reason why you're with a man who is awful in bed is because you made him think he was better than he really was. Forget his ego sometimes. Your sex life is just as important as your emotional connection. So tell him the truth with your body. If you can't say it out loud, tell him the truth with your body. Don't fake it, because when you fake it, he would repeat the same thing, thinking that you really enjoyed it and that's why you're making noise. Number 19, tell him how you like it before you do it. See, before you realize that something is wrong with your sex life, you need to orient your man on the ways that you want to be pleased. I know it's unheard of these days, but couples need to talk about sex before they do it. Talk about it before you engage in it, whether you're married. Even as a married man, don't think that you know. Ladies, your man needs to be aware of your recent sexual history and your needs in the bed. And that includes little kinks, fetishes, and your favorite moves. You both need to know the ground rules and how far you're both willing to go. Awful or not, it's going to suck anyways if you're not making an effort to know what you both like in bed. But then again, while I think that it's so important for you to address issues in your sex life, I think that certain, pitfalls can make the situation even worse. And so this leads me to, diving into the common things that we should avoid when we're in marriage with someone who is bad in bed. Number one, avoid blaming and accusations. See, it's easy for you to point fingers, but blaming your man can make him very defensive. Instead, focus on how the situation makes you feel and what you both can do to improve it. And remember, it's not about who's at fault, it's about working together to find solutions as a team. Number two, stay clear of comparison with past partners. Don't bring it up. Don't bring up your past lovers into the bedroom. In fact, for some men, that's the end of it. That's the end of your relationship, because bringing up past lovers can be hurtful and damaging. We all know that it creates unnecessary competition and invariably can harm your partner's self esteem. So focus on your current relationship and how you both can enhance your intimate experiences. Number three, be mindful of his feelings and self esteem. It's very important. Remember that your man's confidence in bed can be fragile. So approach the subject with care and empathy. Be constructive in your feedback and reassure him of your affection and your attraction to him, that it has never wavered. It will not waver. Number four, do not overgeneralize the issue. Avoid making sweeping statements like, oh, you always, oh, you never. Such statements can feel overwhelming and very unproductive. Focus on specific issues and suggest actionable ways to address them. Number five, dodge that ultimatum. Don't give ultimatum. Ultimatums can lead to resentment and pressure. So instead of saying, oh, if this doesn't change, I'm leaving, why not you just try discussing how important the issue is for your relationship's happiness and explore solutions together? Why are you always giving ultimatum? Eh? It's not fair. And then number six, avoid sarcasm and mockery. That's the worst. Sarcasm, mockery, these can be hurtful and demeaning. You need to maintain a tone of respect, especially when you're addressing frustrating issues as deep as sex or as vulnerable as sex. So maintain a tone that is respectful, because I believe that communication should be about building each other up, not tearing one another down. So when your tone starts sounding in a way that feels like they are being mocked, oh, you've lost them for life, baby. You've lost them for life. And trust me, if you're with a man who is teachable, he would do what you said and even more, because his aim is to please you. Number seven, avoid ignoring his efforts. No matter how tiny it is. If your man is trying to improve, make sure that you are acknowledging his efforts, because failing to recognize his attempts can be discouraging. He would not do it again. Just as we women, we love positive reinforcement, men also love and crave positive reinforcement for their efforts, because it can motivate them to further improve and explore more. Number eight, avoid the temptation to guess instead of asking. Because when you're making assumptions about what he likes or dislikes, it can lead to a huge misunderstanding. And men cannot read minds. And we as women, we think that men can read minds. And so he should be able to tell from your face that you do not like what he just did, or that you do not like how he puts it down in the bedroom. He cannot tell if you do not say. He cannot read your mind. So speak up. Except you're with a man who gets defensive when you speak, then you're in big trouble. Did you see him during courtship? Number eight, openly ask about his preferences and make sure that you encourage him to do the same. Because opening dialogue with your partner can only lead to a better understanding and satisfaction when it comes to the bedroom activity or in every area of your relationship with him. Number nine, avoid letting frustration take over. I know when you do not come, there is this level of frustration, especially when a man has a joystick. You're married to a man who has a joystick and he's not performing. The frustration can be crazy. But don't take it overboard. Don't let the frustration take you overboard. It's normal for you to feel frustrated, but letting that frustration dominate your conversation, especially when you're talking to him about what you do not like, can be damaging. So try to stay calm and focused on solutions rather than dwelling on the negatives. It will go a long way to helping you resolving all the bad sex that you've been having in the bedroom. All right. So try these things. If you're in marriage with a man who is bad in bed, because listen, this is what I would like to say. Having bad sex with a partner isn't the end of the world. Trust me. There are tons of ways to help him become better. But the first step is always the hardest. And that's making him come to terms with the fact that he needs some improvement in the sex department. The key is to communicate effectively and sensitively. And the goal isn't to criticize or belittle that man, but it is to build a stronger and a more satisfying sexual connection together. And this process might just take time, it might take effort, but listen, it can ultimately lead to a deeper understanding and connection between you and your partner. So make sure that you're speaking in a way that can build and not break. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to tell your man how to get you there, but he's already feeling broken because of how you said it. So this is where we're going to wrap it all up until I come your way. When I do come your way, do know that my name is Jane Lawrence and I'm your sex therapist and your relationship expert. Okay? Mwah.